Balake. Where's Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron is here, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me for some more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Guys, we got some bombshell news to talk about. We're about to talk about some stuff that nobody else has picked up and reported on yet, and it's kind of a big deal. It's the secret connection between David Miscavige and Danny Masterson's defense team, and then some. This is a question that came up frequently during Danny Masterson's criminal trial. Is Scientology really funding Danny Masterson's defense? It seemed hard to believe. It seemed kind of out of character that Scientology wouldn't, like, Scientology doesn't give a damn about Danny Masterson particularly, but they'll do anything to protect themselves, even if it means having to protect Danny Masterson. Was Scientology really pulling the strings behind Danny Masterson's defense strategy? It seemed like they were, but how exactly? It seemed like it's the lawyers were doing things that really made it seem like they were taking orders directly from David Miscavige. But how exactly? What is the connection? And remember, guys, when we're talking about Danny Masterson, at this point, we're talking about three different separate proceedings. There's the criminal trial that resulted in a conviction. There was another legal proceeding going on at the same time as the criminal trial, although it was put on pause, which is the civil suit that some of the Jane Does in the Danny Masterson case filed against not just Danny Masterson, but David Miscavige and the Church of Scientology for the harassment and the stalking and the intimidation and the fair game tactics they were subjected to since the LAPD reopened the original 2004 rape investigation into Danny Masterson. They reopened it in 2016, if my memory serves me correct. And then, of course, now when we're talking about Danny Masterson, we have to talk about his divorce proceedings, the sham divorce proceedings that have been initiated to protect assets from the existing lawsuit and potentially future lawsuits, because the Jane Does, my understanding is, and I could have this slightly wrong, that Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2, Danny Masterson was convicted on the charges in relation to Jane Doe 1 and 2. I believe Jane Doe 1 and 2 have a year to bring a civil suit, now that the guilty verdict has come back, to bring a civil suit against Danny for the same issues. I'm trying not to use very fiery language this early on in a video, but you guys know what I'm saying. The Jane Does can sue Danny for the same thing he was convicted of. What is the connection between all these things? And also, some of you guys who've been following this closely will recall, there was a leak of very sensitive discovery information from Danny Masterson's criminal defense team to Scientology's civil defense team in the lawsuit for the harassment and the intimidation and the stalking. Vicky Podboreski is Scientology's attorney for the civil lawsuit, and somehow she came into possession of a sensitive discovery file in the criminal case that Judge Charlene Almeida specifically told Danny's criminal defense team they were not allowed to share any discovery information with the civil team, i.e. Vicky Podboreski, and yet she came into possession of these files. Judge Almeida launched an investigation to find out who the source of the leak was. It was generally assumed as a result of these proceedings that the leak was either Thomas Mesereau or his co-counsel Sharon Applebaum. It now looks like those two may not have been the actual source of the leak. This is going to absolutely blow your mind. Let me show you what I'm working with here, guys. Let me introduce you to one Robert E. Mangles. Robert Mangles is representing RTC and I'm going to say and David Miscavige in the civil lawsuit that the Jane Does brought. Now, real quick, it might be technically inaccurate for me to say he's representing David Miscavige as an individual. Scientologists in the world would all associate representing RTC with representing David Miscavige. Because RTC stands for Religious Technology Center. It is the Scientology entity that controls the trademarks of Dianetics and Scientology, and it is that is the entity that David Miscavige is directly the head of. So now Now, Robert Mangles, it might be true that he's representing RTC, the corporation, and there might be a different attorney that's technically representing David Miscavige as an individual, because in this lawsuit, Miscavige is personally being sued as an individual in addition to RTC being sued. Anyway, so Robert Mangles is officially representing RTC presently in a lawsuit brought by the Jane Does in the Danny Masterson criminal trial. You will see here. This is an article about, it says, Church of Scientology loses dispute with former members. This has to do with the civil trial, the civil case brought by the Jane Does in the Danny Masterson case. The Religious Technology Center is represented by Robert E. Mangles and Matthew D. Hinks of Jeffer, Mangles, Butler, and Mitchell. Okay, cool. So we've established that Robert Mangles represents David Miscavige, okay? So now I'm going to now refer you to a portion of the transcript for the sentencing hearing for Danny Masterson's criminal trial. It says, all counsel present plus additional counsel. For the defense, which of course is Danny Masterson, Ben Coleman, along with Philip Cohen and Sean Hawley, also Kate Mangles. Now, guys, I was present for every day of Danny Masterson's second criminal trial, and I was present for the sentencing. Kate Mangles is someone that nobody knew, and nobody knew who she was, that she was there, why she was there, because she never sat at the defense. She never sat at the defense table with the other attorneys. I and others who were present assumed she was like, what do they call it? A paralegal. Like, must be a paralegal from Sean Hawley's office. Let me introduce you to Kate Mangles, a partner in Sean Hawley's law firm, Kinsella, Hawley, Iser, Kumps, Steisen. I don't know how to say that. Kate Mangles was one of the attorneys representing Danny Masterson in the criminal trial. The lawyer representing David Miscavige in the civil trial, his daughter is a partner at the firm representing Danny Masterson in his criminal defense trial. I wonder who leaked that information to Scientology's other attorney, Vicky Podboreski. Was it really Tom Mesereau? It's possible. Was it really Sharon Applebaum? It's possible. Could it have been David Miscavige's attorney's daughter? We don't know, but is it possible? And when exactly did Kate Mangles become partner at Sean Hawley's law firm? And when exactly did Sean Hawley get brought in as co-lead counsel with Philip Cohen? Is it easier to understand now how Miscavige and Scientology were involved in financing potentially the defense team of Danny Masterson and dictating strategy to the defense team of Danny Masterson? Possibly. I'm just saying, possibly. Okay, there's more. All right. So that's Kate Mangles. Now let's see here. So we also have Vicky Podboreski. I just mentioned earlier that Vicky Podboreski is okay. So let me back up. So obviously we can see that Robert Mangles is representing RTC in the civil lawsuit that the Jane Does have brought for the stalking and the harassment and the intimidation. Well, guess who's representing Church of Scientology International? See, remember, CSI is technically a separate entity from RTC. Vicky Podboreski is representing CSI in that lawsuit. And so let's just take a look at some things here. Okay, so it says here, Judge Charlene Olmedo ruled that famed celebrity defense attorney Tom Mesereau and his co-counsel Sharon Applebaum knowingly violated a court order when they gave discovery materials from the criminal case, including confidential police reports and the addresses of the women Masterson was convicted of raping, to the church and its attorney, Vicky Podboreski. To be crystal clear, Mesereau and Applebaum did not admit to doing this. And at the hearing, at the hearing that Judge Charlene Olmedo held to determine who was the source of the leak, there was just one person, one attorney who was suspiciously not present for that hearing, not present to be asked directly by Judge Charlene Olmedo, were you the source of the leak? Philip Cohen was directly asked, were you the source of the leak? He said no. Sean Hawley was asked, were you the source of the leak? She said no. Kate Mangles wasn't in court that day. She wasn't present to answer that question, whether she was the source of the leak. For the record, Mesro and Applebaum did not admit that they were the source of the leak. They basically just stood there. If I recall correctly, they might have pleaded the fifth, but don't quote me on that. All I know is they didn't actually deny it. They might have simply refused to answer the question. And by default, Judge Charlene Olmedo basically ruled that they were the source of the leak. Now, Applebaum and Mesro were going to appeal her order or her decision because she fined them like $900 or whatever. They were going to appeal. They said they were going to appeal. And then all of a sudden, a week or two later, they just dropped the appeal. Geez, I wonder if Mesro or Applebaum received any extra payments from Scientology to not throw their attorney's daughter under the bus. Is that what happened? We don't know. Could that be what happened? It sure looks a little suspicious. But wait, there's more. Okay, so we have here at least a confirmation here that Vicky Podboreski is Scientology's attorney. We also have an article here. This is an article about, now I'm going to lose my spot. District Attorney and Danny Masterson's retrial claims that accusers' emails to cops are being leaked to Scientology. So there's a reference here in this article of Podboreski being present for a meeting with the LAPD chief. And let's see if I can find it. Okay, so it says here, in the email, Ms. Podboreski indicates that during the trial, Deputy District Attorney Mueller asked questions to Jane Doe 3. Okay, I don't want to read all that. That Podboreski met with LAPD Chief Moore and filed on behalf of the Church of Scientology a series of complaints with the LAPD. Okay, good. I only wanted to show that as another reference of Vicky Podboreski acting on behalf of the Church of Scientology while the Masterson criminal proceedings are going on. Okay, so, and I know I'm being a little redundant, but sometimes I feel like it's necessary to be redundant. Vicky Podboreski is nothing short of nothing less than an attorney for Scientology. And although the CSI, Church of Scientology International, is a different legal entity from RTC, please make no mistake. Any attorney that's working for the Church of Scientology International is working directly for David Miscavige. Please make no mistake. Any attorney that's representing RTC is working directly for David Miscavige. Okay. So you've got Robert Mangles. The system. Okay. You've got Robert Mangles working for David Miscavige. His daughter is on Danny Masterson's defense team. And now we have the third issue that I said, which is Masterson's new divorce proceedings that everybody knows is just a sham to protect assets. I wonder who's representing Danny Masterson's wife. Let's take a look at something here. So it says in the Hollywood Reporter, this period has been unimaginably hard on the marriage and the family. Bijou Phillips' attorney, Peter Lausen, tells the Hollywood Reporter in a statement. Okay, and then here we have Miss Phillips has decided to file for divorce from her. Oh, shoot. I thought I was sharing the screen with you guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so my fault. Miss Phillips has decided to file for divorce from her husband during this unfortunate time. Her priority remains with her daughter. This period has been unimaginably hard on the marriage and the family. Mr. Masterson was always present for Miss Phillips during her most difficult times of her life. Miss Phillips acknowledges that Mr. Masterson is a wonderful father to their daughter. Phillips' lawyer, Peter Lausen, there's like 3 different ways to pronounce this name, and I don't know which one is the right way, but Peter Lausen tells the Hollywood Reporter in a statement. Who is Peter Lausen? Well, he's a famous divorce attorney, but he also happens to be married to Scientology's attorney, Vicky Podboreski. What I have here is a trust deed. I can't zoom in any closer than this. A trust deed from a property co-owned by Vicky Podboreski and Peter Lausen that reads, Peter Lausen and Vicky Podboreski, husband and wife as joint tenants. This is the connection to David Miscavige in all three of these proceedings. Now, if you're Bijou Phillips and you were filing an actual divorce that wasn't just like this sort of secret, covert action being undertaken with full cooperation, full strategic cooperation on both sides, would you hire as your divorce attorney, a Scientologist in good standing, Bijou Phillips, divorcing another Scientologist in good standing and convicted serial rapist, Danny Masterson? If you were divorcing and it was contentious, would you hire a lawyer who works for who's married to David Miscavige's lawyer? Okay, so you got Robert Mangels, an attorney for David Miscavige. His daughter is on the defense team for Danny Masterson. And then Vicky Podboreski, another attorney working directly for David Miscavige. Her husband is representing Bijou Phillips in the divorce. Do you see how all of the strings here are being pulled by David Miscavige and Scientology? And it does beg the question, are all of the bills being paid by David Miscavige and Scientology? We don't know for sure. But for me, when this was revealed, I go, oh my God, okay, I get it. I didn't see how all the dots connected before. Now I do. That's it, guys. That's it on this one. I'm hoping some of you internet super sleuths out there can some way or somehow dig into this a little deeper and find even more connections. Oh, you know what you super sleuths can help me out with? When did Kate Mangels get hired on at Sean Hawley's law firm? When did Kate Mangels make partner? Was she brought on and made partner immediately? Was she brought on for the Danny Masterson trial? Because remember, Sean Hawley was not involved in the defense for the first trial. To the best of my recollection, I'm pretty sure she wasn't. She came on for the second trial. And guys, please fact check me on that. You super sleuths out there, but that's my understanding right now. Oh yeah. I see someone's mentioning Rico in the live chat. I did make a note here. There's some element of Rico, whether the mutual, like these seemingly disconnected parties operating in a coordinated effort for the mutual protection and financial benefit of a single entity. Would David Miscavige and Scientology's use of this web of attorneys that are all connected seem not to be working for the same party, but are connected behind the scenes working for the same party? Does this have an element of RICO? I don't even claim to know. RICO is a word that gets casually thrown around. It's a really bad word. It's a really serious crime. It's a serious offense. It's not a concept that's very well understood other than by attorneys who specialize in that subject. I don't know, but I can tell you this. I believe that when Scientology falls, it will be because of a RICO lawsuit or RICO criminal, convictions of a nature involving RICO. That is my belief. I just don't know if these sort of shenanigans have anything to do with that. Someone's saying, no, not RICO. Guys, everyone's got an opinion. They say opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one and most of them stink. Mine included. So anyway, I just wanted to present that. I just wanted to present that information for now, and we'll figure out what else we can do with all this information in the near future. All right, let's see. I'll hit the super chats, and then we'll call it a wrap on this one. Rural SD lawyer taking some R&R in Arizona. Finally catching some chats. So excited about the daily chat you and Mark Bunker are doing. Planning to be part of the phone bank. That is awesome, Rural SD lawyer. Thank you so much. Amy okayest. Aaron, your videos always make my day better. Keep on keeping on, big guy. Don't forget to take care of yourself, mister. Thank you so much, Amy, and I'm trying. I am trying. It's so hard for me to sleep these days, but I'm doing my best. Okay, Lonesome Squirrel, a.k.a. C.O. Bilf. Robert Mangels appears to be the devil that Dr. Yaqub created. Yaqub, that's a reference I'm not familiar with. Does Tony Muhammad know about this? Oh, Yaqub, is that a Nation of Islam reference? Sorry, that's above my pay grade, C.O. Bilf, but I appreciate the super chat. Patty Cake Sebastian the Third. AA Ron, you have more episodes than Days of Our Lives. I can't keep up, dude. Are they archived? Oh, everything I do is archived, guys. Some people say they can't find my videos on my channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, you're going to see home. There's going to see a tab that says home, and then a tab that says videos, and then a tab that says live. All of my live streams, which is 99% of the videos that I do these days, all of my live streams are under the live tab in chronological order. That is the archive of all of my videos. Thank you for the super chat. Telperion, it's ironic that Masterson will now be in a system in which, when attacked, he gets punished as well. He should feel right at home. Thank you for the super chat. Great gig in the sky. Good Lord, the Scientology Masterson intrigue never ends. That is true. Okay, how do you say this? Tito Kion, see? Did the Jane Does have to pay for their Scientology counseling auditing on Danny? Did Danny? The answer is yes. Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 3, I mean, all Scientology public have to pay for their auditing, their sec checking, which is the interrogation style of auditing. And yes, to my knowledge, Danny also had to pay. But Jane Doe 1 in particular, I can tell you, spent tens upon tens of thousands of dollars paying for the auditing, the sec checking, the interrogation that she was ordered to undergo as a result of coming forward within Scientology with the accusations against Danny. And this is why I said, in Scientology, it is almost unheard of and impossible to just falsely come forward with accusations like this against another Scientologist and get away with it. That's why I said Scientology verified through their own investigations that Danny did do what Jane Doe 1 said that he did. He just refused to be apologetic about it. He refused to admit that everything he did qualified as rape. He didn't deny doing the things Jane Doe 1 accused him of. He just denied that's not rape. He's like, that's not rape. Okay. So that's the answer to that question. Carrie, hello, never been in Scientology, but was touched by the aftermath and your story. I haven't missed a video since. So happy to have caught a live chat. Well, thank you so much, Carrie. I really appreciate that. Swashline says all the SPs need to sue Scientology, especially you, Mr. Levin. Suing Scientology, look, there's lawsuits going on right now. It's very brave to bring on a lawsuit against Scientology. I am much better suited to wage my war against Scientology in the court of public opinion, in the court of the media. And that's also where I'm able to reach as many people as possible. The thing with being involved in a lawsuit is you kind of have to be very, very careful with what you say. You also open yourself up to discovery, which is not something I'm terribly interested in. But I would love for Scientology to sue me, because then they would be opening themselves up to a very broad discovery. So, I always welcome them to sue me. Any day of the week would be fine. But realize Scientology hasn't actually sued anybody in a very long time. They didn't sue Alex Gibney. They didn't sue Lawrence Wright. They didn't sue Leah Remini, Mike Rinder, anyone associated with the Aftermath show or anything. But they still have that fierce reputation for being very litigious. But the truth is, they really haven't. I mean, check it out. Over the last 20, 25, 30 years, they haven't sued anybody except for Debbie Cook. And they sued her for like a minute. She got on this, they got a temporary restraining order or injunction against her because she was saying things that they claimed violated her NDA. In the hearing to make the temporary injunction a permanent injunction, or the temporary restraining order a permanent restraining order, I'm not sure which word is the right word. All it took was Debbie Cook getting on the stand for a day or two and testifying to some things, and Scientology threw a few $1 million at her, allegedly, and said, please stop talking and just go away and leave us alone. We're sorry we ever tried to sue you. So Scientology's, they got their hands tied on what they can really do. Mostly they can put up mean websites and send a bunch of mean tweets. But other than that, they're kind of just a bunch of giant pussies these days. Pardon my French. All right. Krishna R., when you were in the Sea Org, did you find it awkward or funny when they showed David Miscavige while playing We Stand Tall? Did you all mock him? So I was never close enough to David Miscavige to actually understand how small he was. I only ever saw David Miscavige on stage. And I honestly, the whole time I was in Scientology, had no idea how small he was. I had no idea. Okay, so and no one makes fun of David Miscavige in Scientology. That's a big no-no. Paul Dunn, do you believe Jeff Hawkins' story that David Miscavige jumps up on the table, launches himself at me, knocks me back against the partition wall like the scene from Elf? 100%, I believe that story. That story's been corroborated by several other people who were there at the time. And doing that to Jeff Hawkins isn't the only time he's done something like that. So yes, I absolutely believe that story. Jacqueline Leach, t-shirt, every day is a good day not to be in a cult. I've got the design ready to go. I just have to upload it to my Fourth Wall store. I've got every day is a great day not to be in a cult. I've got what do I know? I grew up in a cult, and I got a few designs literally ready to upload. I've just been too lazy to get it done these past few days. At the end of the day, it will have taken me 6 months to do what really should have been done in 3 hours. That's why I say, guys, I know, like I say, I'm lazy a lot, and it doesn't seem like I'm lazy because I do a lot of videos, but when I'm not doing videos, I really am quite lazy. So if you need any examples of that, it's just look how long it took me to get t-shirts and other merch ready to go with that simple phrase. Thank you for the super chat. Carla Forbes, if and when Danny gets in trouble while in prison, can we request someone to ask him what he did to pull that in? Yes, that would be the appropriate question. Thank you very much for that. And guys, I'm going to take a little opportunity at the end of every one of my videos to remind everyone, Mr. Mark Bunker is OG warrior in the effort to expose Scientology fraud and abuse. He's running for re-election in Clearwater City Council. If Mark does not win re-election, it would be a massive victory for Scientology. So please check the link in the description down below for Mark Bunker's website for his campaign, markbunker2024.com. And if you're watching this video, please consider making if you're watching this video and you're a United States citizen, please consider making a donation to Mark Bunker's re-election campaign. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this afternoon. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very, very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not,